Yup, shocking hot take of the century, I know.
I did really enjoy the scene when Bimblar went rogue and he beat that woman in the head with the hammer. I thought it was artistically and like tastefully done. I thought it was a well done sequence.
Smiling Friends premiered just a few days ago on Adult Swim. I don't just mean an episode or two, by the way. I mean the whole dang season aired back to back in a night of stealth premieres. I'd say that I was shocked, and for a bit I was. But Adult Swim has pulled this exact same stunt before, so the shock wore off pretty quickly. From midnight to 2 a.m., they ran through 7 new episodes and finished off with the pilot, which had itself stealth premiered on Adult Swim April Fool's Day in 2020. There was a lot riding on the series from the very get-go. With the already massive heavy hitter of Rick and Morty, and the announced acquisition and airing of the second season of Tuca and Birdie, Smiling Friends was slated to sort of finish this trifecta of heavy hitters for the network. In the 2 years between its pilot stealth premiere and the marathon of new episodes, the show garnered a lot of hype online. There was a lot of mystery as to when the show exactly was coming out, since Adult Swim was very quiet on the subject. They released a trailer in early 2021 saying that it was coming out that year, but obviously that never happened. Things were once again quiet until very, very recently, with confirmation of the premiere date coming at the tail end of 2021 for January 9th, 2022. Like I said, the whole season aired just a few days ago, and the big question on everyone's mind is, did it live up to the hype? And if I'm gonna be honest, yes, absolutely. In fact, I think it exceeded the hype that was built around it. At least in my opinion, the show definitely isn't for everyone. Actually, that's part of what makes it great. The show knows what it wants to be and who it's trying to appeal to, and because of that, it's able to focus on the most important thing the show has going for it. It's comedy. Comedy is subjective, I think we can agree on that much. So again, the kind of humor that I enjoy versus the kind of humor that you enjoy could be completely different or exactly the same. Smiling Friends relies primarily on a combination of surreal and black comedy, and lucky for me, that is exactly my cup of tea. Oh god, it's scalding hot! There's two surefire ways to pull off surreal black comedy. The first is to have a slow and awkward build-up to a shocking revelation and payoff. Shows like Arrested Development and It's Always Sunny thrive in this kind of atmosphere. The other way is basically the exact opposite. Actions and jokes that take place so quickly that you have to do a double take just to confirm what you just saw. And this is where Smiling Friends thrives.
Well, that's a nice story and all, but it doesn't really answer my question.
Pim, how did you understand any of that?
What?
The pacing and jokes are so fast that you're bound to miss some stuff on your first watch. Like you'll be watching a music video montage scene, and then in the middle, a bird will randomly scream for less than a second, and then it's right back to the montage. The visuals definitely entice the absurd humor. It's so snappy and janky. Intentionally, of course. It makes all of the movements sporadic, and while it leaves me questioning what's going on more times than not, it also has my stomach nuts. The editing on this show is also a big part of that too. They know exactly the right time to cut to the next scene for maximum comedic payoff. It works very well. There's also some aspects of mixed media in a lot of these episodes too, like CGI, stop motion, and even some live action. They stick out like a sore thumb, but I think that works to the show's benefit. It helps sell this chaotic and disjointed world that these characters live in. Each episode being 11 minutes is actually a good thing in this case, since I feel like it would be difficult to fill a 22-minute time slot with this kind of humor for only one plot. The seemingly improvised, natural, and smooth character interactions also make the show shine, which, based on the creators of the show, I wouldn't doubt. But we'll get into that in a little bit. When the characters have a grounded conversation to question what crazy absurd event they just witnessed, it works as a great contrast. Paired with the snappy movements, it works better than when something like, say, Rick and Morty tries to pull off the same thing.
Charlie, what was that? What just happened?
Oh, the Renaissance men came into town finally. I literally told you at the beginning the Renaissance men were coming into town. He didn't believe me.
Thanks to this, it's able to cover a lot of controversial topics without it feeling overbearing. Stuff like cancel culture.
Whoa, is that blackface, dude?
No, this isn't blackface. I'm an actual demon.
Racism.
Filthy.
That was really bad.
Mob mentality.
We can finally eradicate all the Puerto Ricans on the planet!
What do you say? What?
I mean, make everyone on the planet frown!
Misinformation.
Dude, I just looked up the helium thing he was talking about. That's true. That's like 100%. Everything he said was true. It's all gonna be gone.
Workplace harassment. Suicide.
But if you can't help me, I'm gonna f***ing shoot myself and make you two watch.
Okay, not sure about that, but yay!
Stalkers.
Oh my god, that was a bomb the whole time?
Discord mods. That being said, although many people, myself included, have ultimately praised Smiling Friends, it's not perfect. I do have a few gripes with it. There are a few instances where they stray away from the beaten path to try a different approach, and those don't really work in the show's favor. The Halloween episode, for example, is probably the weakest episode of the season. While it's arguably the best looking one for its spooky atmosphere, as well as some unique angles and a clever use of mixed media, the whole episode is just a build-up for an admittedly hysterical ending. But the problem is that there are just so few jokes during the build-up that despite the payoff being great, I wouldn't say it was worth it for all the build-up. There's also a framing device that is just there for some reason. It doesn't really add anything to the overall episode, and it's not very funny. It's kind of just wasted time that could have been used for more jokes. Another problem I have is that sometimes it gets really into what it's trying to parody, to the point it kind of slows down the whole thing to a standstill and makes it the only thing the episode is focused on. An example of this would be the Enchanted Forest episode. I actually really like how it starts with Charlie and Pym going through the forest to the castle and trying to ignore all the side quests.
Oh, dude, that was not even fantasy. That's just an alien, Pym.
But then The Hobbit appears. Not even like a reference or parody, just literally Rankin Bass's version of The Hobbit, and it kind of takes control of the rest of the episode, with it turning into a Lord of the Rings parody for a little bit. Everything slows down, and it's very jarring compared to its breakneck first 3 minutes. Also, this is a nitpick, and probably not even the show's fault, but I really do not like batch drops. I get that it'll help get the show to HBO Max quicker for more people to watch, but I think it kind of ruins the longevity of a show's impact. I might talk about this more in another video, but for now, I'll say, Adult Swim, please rerun the heck out of the show, and don't forget about it. These are my only gripes with the show, and the episodes themselves, which I've talked about, are still really fun to watch. It's not like it detracts that much from the show. But if the show does get more seasons, and I really hope it does, I hope these problems don't rear their ugly heads again, or worse, mutate into a different kind of issue. But that's enough about the gripes. Let's discuss what makes this show so unique and appealing. The internet humor is done right! There's this problem I've been noticing with a lot of shows where wherever they try to replicate internet humor, they don't really understand what makes something funny in the first place. They'll just take something, look at it at face value, and try to replicate it either by referencing it or just outright doing it. Newsflash, 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't work. But that's where Smiling Friends is different. The show is created by Zach Hadel, aka Psychic Pebbles, and Michael R. Cusack, aka Michael R. Cusack. He also made Yellow Crystal Fantasy, which is great. Check that out.
It's just a stupid internet video from 2012. No, I wanted more Metalocalypse!
These two found their fame on the early days of the internet, have seen many internet trends come and go, and most importantly, have a solid understanding as to what makes these trends funny. They don't just reference or name drop for the sake of referencing or name dropping. Instead, they manage to pull off successful internet humor thanks to two important factors. For starters, something that I mentioned before, they never stick too long on a joke. It's just constantly rapid-fire moving from one thing to the next. This not only benefits our ever-depleting attention spans, but it also makes sure that you'll find something to laugh at in the episode. Didn't find a random scream funny? Well, it's gone in the blink of an eye, and now we're at a family dinner with a distant family. Don't find that funny? Take a look at the background at any given moment to find some abomination running across the screen. Its breakneck pace works to either allow for smooth flow of laughter, or someone to find something that appeals to them. And the second, and more important thing, is that Smiling Friends just feels like a bunch of good friends getting together, goofing off, and trying to make a show, and it works so well here! And this isn't just my insight spewing nonsense this time. Not that Not that it's ever done that. Just take a look at the cast list in any of these episodes and you'll see that it's full of not only internet personalities, but also people who Michael and Zach have worked with before. You got Mike Stacklasa, Tom Fulp, David Firth, Harry Partridge, Mick Lauer, basically the entire cast of Oni Plays, fucking Chills of all people, even James, angry video game nerd Rolf makes a brief appearance. You've also got some big-name celebs and well-renowned voice actors, but having the voice cast be primarily internet personalities. I don't know, something about that just feels special, and like more of a friendly collaboration instead of a soulless product. And I think that's the true importance of this show. In a sea of mediocre adult animation and surface-level jokes about internet culture, Smiling Friends constructs a nearly perfect bridge between the medium of TV broadcasting and the current age of internet and social media. And that's something that I honestly think should not be taken for granted. No, like, for real, this is a very big deal. We're only just now seeing an emergence of indie internet animations and animators make the leap onto broadcast television with stuff like Has-Been Hotel, which seemed like a pipe dream around the start of Newgrounds. And yet, with Zach and Michael able to make this show, and for it to be as huge as it seems to be, this could be the start of a whole new era of animation, and I am fully on board for it.
Charlie, how is this possible?
Look, I could barely explain the nutty adventure I just went on, so I'm not going to. I don't want to talk about it. I see the devil.
Oh, Charlie!
I know the show won't be taken for granted by its fans, and despite no word as of writing this, I'm almost certain that it'll get picked up for another season, but I did have something to say to Adult Swim. I mentioned this earlier, but please do not forget about this show now that you batch dropped the whole season. I better be seeing reruns of this almost every day for a while, as well as some creative bumps and marathons. And hey, while you're at it, how about some physical releases and some merch? You can't tell me that won't sell well because we both know that's a lie. Like I said, the show definitely won't appeal to everyone, but if you're a fan of adult animation, snappy movements, absurdly dark comedy, improvisational dialogue, fun character designs, actually thought out and smart internet humor, and internet personalities dating all the way back to the fruition of Newgrounds, then this show is definitely for you. And if that sounds like the exact opposite of what you're into, watch Joe Pera Talks with You. Just saying, it's pretty good.